this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
With no fees or minimums on checking accounts, it's no wonder the Capital One bank guy is so passionate about banking with Capital One. If he were here, he wouldn't just tell you about no fees or minimums. He'd also talk about how most Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. Yep, even on weekends. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One, N.A., member FDIC.
You see it instantly. It's Coldwater Creek, the mark of exceptional workmanship and signature touches inspired by a Mountain West heritage. Distinctive styles created from quality fabrics, silhouettes perfected with just the right drape, feel-good fits offering ease of movement, and thoughtful details to elevate your look. For a wardrobe you can count on season after season, visit coldwatercreek.com. Shop the new spring collection at 20% off $75 or more with code IHEART20.
Brought to you by the reinvented 2012 Camry. It's ready. Are you? Welcome to Stuff You Should Know from HowStuffWorks.com.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Stuff You Should Know. I'm Josh. Say hi, Chuck.
Hi.
How's it going, Chuck?
Great. A little cold, but other than that, I'm fine.
Well, Chuck, you know, it's supposed to get really, really cold this January 20th, which is a significant day.
We didn't even plan this segue. That's a good one.
Thanks.
Is that the inauguration?
Yes, it is. Uh-huh. And they're expecting up to maybe 4 million people.
Right.
And worst case scenario they're talking is 30, 31 degrees and raining. So
right.
Everything will be icy and frozen. And there's going to be old people dying left and right, basically.
Children.
Exactly.
In peril.
Yeah. So it'll probably be if that happens, the most death-fraught inauguration of all time.
Right.
And there's been some pretty bloody ones.
Really?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I'm not sure. But I personally am looking forward to the inauguration because, as I understand it, Barack Obama, you've heard of him.
President-elect.
Our next president, yes. He is planning on restoring a part of the Constitution that was shaved off a couple of years ago. A little thing called Habeas Corpus.
Yes.
You've heard of this?
I have. It is a Latin term.
And you said you took Latin in high school?
No, I took German.
Did you?
Yeah.
You just continue to surprise and amaze me.
I seem like a Spanish guy, don't I?
I would have definitely said Spanish.
I wish I had taken Spanish. It would. I would be better now for it, but
although you could definitely get yourself a desk job at HowStuffWorks Frankfurt.
Is there a HowStuffWorks Frankfurt?
No.
Okay.
I imagine they'd create one for you though if you lobbied for it enough.
So habeas corpus is Latin, and it means you have the body.
Mm-hmm. And essentially, what it is that it's a legal term.
Right.
That it's kind of an order from a judge to a jailer saying, "You have the body. Bring him to me so we can figure out if he's being imprisoned legally or not."
Right. I've heard this term a lot. I'm glad we're doing this because I never, it's one of those terms that everyone's probably heard of but doesn't know a lot about. So
yeah, and there's a lot to it. Basically, what habeas corpus does is we have a set of guarantees in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, actually. If you really take a look at the Bill of Rights, the framers' top 10 great protections,
right?
That list, most of it has to do with being prosecuted.
Right.
So in taken all together, it's called due process. So you have a right to confront your accusers.
Sure.
You have a right to counsel.
Speedy trial.
Speedy trial's a big one.
Fair trial.
Fair trial, huge.
Yeah, of course.
But the thing is these things can be guaranteed to you and I all day long. But they don't amount to anything if we don't have any action to take to ensure that they're actually being carried out.
Exactly.
That these guarantees are being delivered on. And that's what habeas corpus is. It's that mechanism by which these constitutional protections are, guaranteed.
Right.
Love that one.
That's a great summation.
Thanks a lot. Well, that's it for today.
If only.
That's all for me, folks.
No, well, don't put this on me because there's a lot to come.
You want me to carry the corpus part?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is not a new concept. It actually dates back before the framers created the Constitution and ratified it in 1789.
Right. Goes back to England, correct?
Uh-huh. It's English common law. In the 17th century, if you were a Catholic, like I was raised, you would be in grave danger of being picked up by the king's men and thrown in jail.
Right.
Because this is the time when, I believe it was King Henry, one of the kings, there's just so many of them, I can't keep them straight any longer.
Right.
When whoever was king had established the Church of England. And, that was the big rival to the Catholic Church.
Right.
So he wanted a state-sponsored, state-run church and didn't really want any competition. So if you're a Catholic, you were probably going to be imprisoned and held and not given a trial or anything like that.
No due process.
No. So Parliament came up with this protection. And actually, it may date back further than that. Some people say that it's kind of implied by the Magna Carta.
Right, which was 1215.
At Runnymede.
Yeah, it's a long, long time ago.
It is. But it actually became codified as habeas corpus in 17th century England.
Right.
And then the framers picked it up, and it's in the Constitution. It's a huge right, And in American practice, if you have habeas corpus, the process goes like this. You're tried, or you're jailed even. You can say you're jailed. Most of the time, you've already been tried, and now you've been convicted and incarcerated. And a writ of habeas corpus can actually be a legal strategy where after all of your appeals run out, you can use it, you can issue a petition of habeas corpus.
Right.
And you're saying, hey, judge, I don't think at my trial I was given a fair trial. Say, my counselor was inadequate. He was drunk all the time, that kind of thing. Or the prosecution, hid, important evidence that would have exonerated you. You can issue this in a petition of habeas corpus.
Right.
The judge considers it. If the judge decides that, it raises enough questions about the legality of your imprisonment, you will, the judge will issue.
Is there another trial?
Well, no, it's not another trial. It's a hearing.
Okay.
And actually, no, habeas corpus, it's not a rehash of your actual trial.
So it's not an appeal at all?
Not really, but it kind of falls in step with the appeal process.
Right.
It's so what happened as far as, you murdered somebody or that's what you're accused of, the judge in a habeas corpus hearing doesn't care about that. What they care about is evidence that shows that your defense attorney was drunk.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Sure. I get it.
And so these things also tend to, as a legal strategy, tend to come in a flurry when, say, like a prosecutor is found to have been, a cocaine user, and it comes out.
So everyone that person prosecuted all of a sudden lines up their writ of habeas corpus.
They start sending out petitions of habeas corpus.
Right.
Or corpi, I guess.
All right, the petition is first, and then followed by the writ.
If the judge thinks that it's worth hearing, the judge issues a writ of habeas corpus, bring the body to me.
Right.
And that's pretty much how it's used. But you can actually you can contest your incarceration, I believe, at any point, but using it as a legal strategy, that's usually how it's used.
It's kind of depressing, I think, if I were a prisoner, just being referred to as the body is, I don't know, that would worry me immediately.
Yeah.
And corpus sounds a lot like corpse. Like I said, I didn't take Latin, but I have a feeling those two are probably connected, right?
I thought you said you did take Latin.
No, German.
German?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I think, though, being referred to as the body, I would be much more concerned with the fact that I was in prison.
Sure.
Yeah. At that point, you're probably already used to being called the body or the booty or something horrible, and being those names being made good on.
Right. You have your priorities in line.
Exactly. Obviously. Yeah. So Chuck, we understand habeas corpus. You kind of get an impression of why it's important now. It keeps us from being thrown into jail and the key being thrown away.
Right.
It's our one recourse. Because really, if you think about it, the court system, it is this entity that stands between the state, which has the power to throw you in jail, and the individual, which can be thrown in jail.
Right.
The whole purpose of the court system, the legal system, is to find out whether or not this person should be incarcerated or punished.
Guilt or innocence.
Right.
Right.
So it's kind of insinuated, it's placed in between the state and the individual, as a buffer, as a protection, as much as it is, the judge and jury that can, and executioner. You see what I'm saying?
In some cases, sure.
Right. Okay, so now we understand how important it is, which kind of gives us an idea then of how egregious the Military Commissions Act of 2006 was.
Right. Well, let's back up a little because
let's do it.
This is not the first time the Military Act of 2006. Commissions Act that habeas corpus has been revoked.
Oh, that was one other thing we should probably say, huh, Chuck? In the Bill of Rights, it actually specifically mentions habeas corpus. It's actually, I think, in the Constitution.
Uh-huh.
It says the only time that habeas corpus can be suspended is in times of insurrection or rebellion.
Right.
When it serves the public safety. That's the only time it can be suspended.
Right.
Not repealed, not
that opens
revoked,
it up
suspended.
to some interpretation, obviously.
You know what? It shouldn't, because it's so explicit. But yes, sadly, over the course of American history, it has been interpreted, in my opinion, incorrectly. So, yeah, you were saying, give us some examples.
Well, one example is during the Civil War, President Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, suspended habeas corpus when the Civil War broke out, and 5 years later, it was reinstated at the end of the Civil War.
Yeah,
and
which. Insurrection, rebellion.
Right.
You could make a pretty good case that he had every constitutional right to do that.
Sure, it was Civil War.
Right.
For goodness sakes. And then, sadly, one of our black eyes, I guess, on our nation's history was the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II. And the same thing happened then. More than 100,000 Japanese Americans were detained and held, many of them American-born citizens. So.
Yeah. I mean, think about how screwed up that is. That would be like after 9/11 if we had round up every
Muslim,
every Muslim, not even Muslim, because that would be based on religion. This is based on a nationality.
Right.
So let's say we rounded up every Saudi American and put them into soccer stadiums that we had, reinforced with concertina wire and fences and German shepherds.
Right.
Just because they were Saudis. This happened like 60 years ago in the U.S.
Not so long ago.
Yeah.
So I have a very good friend, the Syrian. I can't imagine a world where we would do something like that.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing you weren't alive in 1942, my friend, because you would have wept tears.
I would have.
And the most ironic, or I guess not, that word's not appropriate, but the most surprising part of the revocation of habeas corpus in 1942 for Japanese Americans was that it took until 1976.
Right, Gerald
Ford finally issued an executive order that reinstated the writ of habeas corpus, or the right of habeas corpus, to Japanese Americans. So for that 30-plus year period, if you were a Japanese American, technically they could throw you in jail for whatever, and you couldn't contest the legality of your incarceration.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
It is. I wonder if that happened.
I don't know. That's a great question.
I have a feeling it was probably just not acted on, and no one really thought much about it until Gerald Ford, it popped up on his radar somehow.
Yeah, I wonder how you forget something like that. Roosevelt just forgot to pass it along, Hey, Truman, don't forget.
I guarantee you Japanese Americans probably didn't forget.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
So now we're up to the modern day time, so.
The Military Commissions Act, 2006. You remember Mark Foley?
Yes.
Florida representative?
I think so.
Okay. And he had a little email tryst with one of his male aides.
His pages.
Little man boy. I think he was like 17 or 18, something like that.
Yeah.
That story happened. It broke, coincidentally, the same time Congress passed the Military Commissions Act of 2006.
Which allowed it to kind of go under the radar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was this huge, sweeping act. Really, although it was succinct, it really had huge repercussions. And it was basically aimed at terror suspects.
Right.
And as far as habeas corpus goes, it related to that right by revoking it for anyone deemed an enemy combatant.
Which, once again, they leave it nice and vague.
Exactly. And they also said that the president and Congress and a few other high officials can deem whoever they want an enemy combatant, and that can't be contested. And once you're deemed an enemy combatant, you are stripped of your right of habeas corpus.
Right.
Which means that's how all these people down at Guantanamo Bay were kept indefinitely. Mm-hmm. And this Military Commissions Act is so cynical. It was passed after the Supreme Court had ruled that these people were being held there illegally, in flying in the face of the Geneva Convention. So Bush had, Congress pass this federal law that basically overturned that Supreme Court ruling.
Right.
It's nuts.
It is.
So all these people are being held there as enemy combatants, and you think, who cares? They're terrorists. The problem is there were plenty of instances down there where people were released because they've been picked up just because they had the same name as a terrorist on the terror
identity.
watch list. There is a guy whose name was Maher Arar. Mm-hmm. I believe that's the pronunciation. I butcher foreign names like crazy.
We apologize to everyone.
Especially Mr. Arar.
Yes.
He was a Syrian-born Canadian national. He's a naturalized citizen, computer engineer, and he'd popped up on the Canadian Mounted Police's intelligence watch list in 2002. And they alerted the U.S. authorities and some other, friendly nations that this guy was on their list and that he'd left the country. He went to Tunisia, right? And on his way back to Canada, his home,
right?
He had a layover at JFK in New York, and he was picked up by federal authorities, U.S. officials, and they secretly rendered him to Syria, where he was kept in a prison and tortured for a year before the Syrians, who we outsourced our torture to, you remember,
sure,
concluded that he wasn't a terrorist and had no ties to terrorism.
Right.
The Syrians were the ones who decided that. The U.S. couldn't even figure it out.
I know.
But after a year of torture, luckily for Mr. Arar, the Syrians concluded that he wasn't a terrorist and set him free.
Now, did Canada get involved? I would think that they would.
Yes. Canada's in big trouble, but really the U.S. is in bigger trouble.
Right.
Or was. I think it's been swept under the carpet by now. But the U.S. officials told the Canadians that they were going to send him back to Switzerland. He went from Tunisia to Switzerland, and the U.S. said, hey, thanks a lot for telling us. We're just going to grab him and send him back to Switzerland. We don't want him in the country, and you don't really want him either, right? Mm-hmm. And they put him on a plane to Jordan, took him overland to Syria, and gave him to the Syrians to be tortured.
Right.
Find out what he knew.
I think one point that you make in the article is it was a retroactive act. So it was passed in 2006. This guy was picked up when? 2002?
Yes.
So it was a retroactive act, meaning that anyone picked up after
September 11th, 2001.
Yeah, had no habeas corpus rights.
And it also gave retroactive immunity all the way back to September 11th, 2001 to any U.S. official who was engaged in anything that could be construed as torture or illegal, as far as it fell under the umbrella of the war on terror, which is beyond screwed up.
Yeah.
So we still have this act today. It's still on the books, and it's still a huge bone of contention. And hopefully, from what I understand, when Obama comes back when he comes into office, he's going to basically repeal the Military Commissions Act. He's going to hopefully get it repealed, and he's going to come up with a new legal system that's designed just to prosecute high-level, high-value terror suspects.
That makes sense.
In the U.S. So basically, he's going to let a bunch of them go. And he's going to send them back to their country of origin for prosecution, incarceration, or freedom. I don't know. The low-level ones, they're just going to prosecute in regular American courts. Uh-huh. Then the high-level ones are going to be a more secret court where they get all the aspects of due process, but it's not as transparent. So, they won't be able, if their accuser's a CIA informant, they won't be able to face that accuser. Right. Sorry, TS, but there's still evidence is going to be submitted. Another thing about the Military Commissions Act, testimony gathered from torture was actually admissible.
Really?
Yeah. So if you tortured somebody and they confessed to being a terrorist to get you to stop, there's your confession.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing.
Hey everybody, get this. LinkedIn has grown to a network of over 1 billion professionals and 130 million decision makers. And that's where it stands apart from other ad buys.
Yeah, for sure. You can target your buyers by job title, industry, company, role, seniority, skills, even company revenue, so you can stop wasting budget on the wrong audience.
Yep, that's why LinkedIn Ads generates the highest B2B ROAS of all online ad networks. Seriously, all of them.
And get this, if you spend $250 on your first campaign on LinkedIn ads, you get a free $250 credit for the next one. Just go to linkedin.com/SYSK. That's linkedin.com/SYSK. Terms and conditions apply.
You see it instantly. It's Coldwater Creek, the mark of exceptional workmanship and signature touches inspired by a Mountain West heritage. Distinctive styles created from quality fabrics, silhouettes perfected with just the right drape, feel-good fits offering ease of movement, and thoughtful details to elevate your look. For a wardrobe you can count on season after season, visit coldwatercreek.com. Shop the new spring collection at 20% off $75 or more with code IHEART20.
Yeah. And this isn't a liberal Democrat thing. It's a human rights thing. So
definitely.
I think we should just point that out, that it's not like President-elect Obama just wants to set terrorists free all over the world or anything.
No, definitely not. And he's also getting criticism from both sides too. Like, should we set up a new legal system just for this? The ACLU is criticizing the plan just as much as Republicans are criticizing him for shutting down Guantanamo.
Right.
But I agree with you wholeheartedly. It is a human rights issue, and I'm glad to see that it's going to be resolved. I very strongly believe it's going to be resolved.
Me too. Let's hope.
Yeah. The worst part is that America's going to spend the next 20 years trying to regain our image, our standards,
right?
And then by about that time, that's when all those horrendous documents are going to come out of everything that went down in Guantanamo. It's just going to be that second jab to the eye.
Yep.
So that's habeas corpus, ladies and gentlemen. Look for Guantanamo Bay to go the way of disco, hopefully in the next several months. And you know what time it is now, don't you, Chuck?
I think so.
I think it's reader mail time.
Listener mail. So I've got a little Thanksgiving episode love from some folks.
Sweet.
And if you recall, during the Thanksgiving episode, I put the call out to the Stuff You Should Know Nation that if anyone out there is not a vegetarian and they forego the turkey for, let's say, steak, then I would love to hear from them.
Let's play that clip, shall we?
Yeah. 90% of Americans now eat turkey on Thanksgiving, and I would imagine the 10% who don't, a lot of those are probably vegetarian. I can't imagine you would choose another meat if you're not a vegetarian other than turkey.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you'd have to be some sort of communist.
Yeah, if we have listeners out there who are not vegetarian and who opt for steak on Thanksgiving, I'd love to hear from you.
Okay, so you said it, Chuck.
So there we have it. So we actually heard from a few folks. We heard from Chris Ent. That's E-N-T. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Chris. He married a lovely lady from Tokyo. Mm-hmm. And he has a tradition that Josh and we want to be invited over next year.
Yes, Mr. Ent, we would gladly accept any invitation you extended.
Right. I would forego the turkey because what they do, the wife doesn't like the turkey flavor.
Mrs.
Ent. So what he does is he buys an entire New York strip, which is about 10 pounds of beef, and he cuts it up into humongous 1.25-inch steaks.
Nice.
And then on Thanksgiving, he cooks them up on the grill with pear wood and actual wood charcoal, and he smokes a salmon.
I think pear wood is an actual wood.
Well, he says pear wood and actual wood charcoal. I'm just reading.
Right.
And he smokes a wild salmon in the smoke. So they have smoked salmon and wood-fire grilled steaks, and that's what they have for their leftovers.
That is fantastic. Again, great. Mr. Ent, we will be giving you... well, actually, you already know our email. It's stuffpodcast at HowStuffWorks.com, so just send us those invitations along.
Right. I've got a couple of more, too.
Give them to us.
Quickly,
Chuck.
Chris Corvey responded that his family eats chicken, a capon specifically, which I looked it up. It's a large castrated rooster.
Yeah, he says, I think it's a big chicken. I noticed that,
and
I was
huge
like,
chicken.
yeah, I hate to tell you, but that's just a...
So it's sort of like a chicken. I mean, it's like a turkey. It's as big as a turkey.
It's a turkey with a falsetto voice.
Right. And then we heard from Travis Illig, who is not a vegetarian, and he hates turkey, even though his whole family loves it. He doesn't like the flavor. And he said that makes Thanksgiving his least favorite holiday, which is very sad, because he grew up eating potatoes and rolls and having to answer questions about why he doesn't like turkey every year. So now he's done everything from bringing his own Chinese food, pizza, and lobster.
I would go for the lobster.
Yeah, and dining with the family, or he said the last few years they've gone to a Thanksgiving buffet, so they can have their turkey, he can have his spaghetti, whatever he wants.
What's that last guy's name?
Travis Illig.
I think Travis has the saddest story out of the three.
It is.
And I think just for that he deserves a How Stuff Works t-shirt. Travis, if you want to send us your name and address to stuffpodcast at HowStuffWorks.com, we will gladly pass that along to you, and you can wear it happily while you sadly eat your spaghetti on Thanksgiving. Anybody else who wants to drop us a line, let us know something we screwed up in this podcast, which I'm quite sure we did. Again, it's stuffpodcast at HowStuffWorks.com.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit HowStuffWorks.com. Brought to you by the reinvented 2012 Camry. It's ready. Are you?
You see it instantly. It's Coldwater Creek, the mark of exceptional workmanship and signature touches inspired by a Mountain West heritage. Distinctive styles created from quality fabrics, silhouettes perfected with just the right drape, feel-good fits offering ease of movement, and thoughtful details to elevate your look. Coldwater Creek's authenticity is embodied in every piece, embracing its confident spirit that carries through to today. Discover Coldwater Creek clothing, designed to fit your life the way you want. For a wardrobe you can count on season after season, visit coldwatercreek.com. Shop the new spring collection at 20% off $75 or more with code IHEART20.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/iHeart. Terms apply.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.